Before we start, I just want to let you know that there will be spoilers for our bosses throughout the game. And with that said, and you're still here, please enjoy the video. Okay, we get it. You can sync with your clones. Why don't we see something a little bit more refreshing? One thing I really love about this game is that you can get really creative with your combat. There's different staff stances, there's different spirits, and you can use all of them to utilize and enhance your fights. Especially when you executed it perfectly, your flawless chain of combos will make you go, "Damn, I wish I recorded that." The purpose of this video is to give you an inspiration. I'll be teaching you about the different combinations I've found throughout my gameplay, and hopefully it can really improve your combat, and also making it more flashy. There'll be 3 parts to the video. The first part will be about stance mastery and how you can switch between them during your fights. The second one will be the combination of spirits. And the last one will be about fighting with free camera. So make sure you check out the description for the timestamps and skip to the part where you need to. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. True fluency is the mastery of all 3. When you can dance with them, you will start to see that your blood won't be what they drink, but rather your wrath? Honestly, trying to switch between 3 stances in the middle of your fight can be quite difficult. But getting it down and understanding the 3 stances can prove to be very useful in different situations, as each of them has their own pros and cons. If you're here, I'm going to assume you already know how each of the stances work, like how to do your inputs and how to do your see-throughs. Right? I'll be going through what situation is best for each of the stances and how to effectively switch around in the middle of your fight. Starting with the smash stance. The smash stance counterattack is the quickest out of all the 3 stances. This stance is also great for keeping up with the momentum of your continuous combos. It's also great at briefly staggering the enemy and has a powerful follow-up after a successful first see-through. You would want to bring this stance if you are in the middle of the enemy's combo, so you can dodge out whenever you need to, or when you want to make sure you stagger the enemy by doing the Skyfall strike. That's it for the smash stance. You can pause here if you need more time to read. Now, let's move on to the pillar stance. The pillar stance has the safest charge-heavy attack, since you can go up the pole and avoid any damage from the enemies below you. This stance is also good at hitting multiple enemies when you do the sweeping gale and the churning gale. In addition, when you do the sweeping gale, you can distance yourself away from the enemy. And the cherry on top is that when you successfully do the sweeping into a churning gale, it takes up all your focus point to dish out a very big damage. You would want to bring out this stance if you have 4 focus points and you want to use all of them in a charge heavy attack, or you just want to style on them. If you need time to read, pause here now. Let's move on to the last one, the thrust stance. The thrust stance gives you the longest iframes when you do a see-through. If you have the whirling thrust skill unlocked, you can quickly close the distance between you and the enemy by holding light attack. Moreover, if you have the adaptability skill also unlocked, you can go back into doing a see-through, making it very repeatable. If you have the deadly dance skill unlocked, you'll have the quickest way to output all of your focus points into a deadly thrust after a dodge. You would want to use this stance when you want to do a see-through in the middle of a fast attacking enemy combo, so you have more iframes to work with. If you have 4 focus points and you are in a tight spot, try and opt in for the deadly dance thrust. You can pause here if you need to read. With the 3 stances covered, let's talk about how you can switch effectively during your fight. And yes, I only have the pros and not the cons, because I don't want to discourage you from using all the 3 stances. Totally not because I don't have enough space to put it on the screen. Anyways, let's talk about switching on the fly. Typically, those who are affected with brain rot like me and you do not have the mental capacity to even attempt to switch stances when you're fighting. But I came up with a solution to help you get started. I like to call this the anchoring stance. This is a stance you are the most comfortable with and you will always equip it by default. For me, I like to smash, so I'll always have it on as I play the game normally. You will always be using this stance and only switching when you feel like it's the right time to do so. And make it a habit to switch back to your default stance every time you switch to the other one. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, switching stances is a very difficult thing to do, especially when you're so focused on the fight. But if you want to get that smoky, sexy style, you better get practicing. To wrap up the stance mastery section, I'll give you an example of a fight with breakdowns. In the beginning, if you have no focus points, it would be best if you try and build it up as much as you can before you start doing any see-throughs. Since the smash stance is my anchoring stance, I'll be using it most of the time. This is great for me as well because this enemy is quite fast with his attack. However, in this particular combo of the enemy, I know that at the end of it, he will do 2 quick swings. Since the smash stance only nullifies 1 attack that triggered the see-through, I switched to the thrust stance for that extra iframes. I heard the sound cue of my focus points being filled up. I quickly prepared myself to switch to the pillar stance to land a safe hit. Yeah, it's definitely harder than what it looks like. But practice does make perfect. If you can consistently do this, the only thing you'll worry about in a fight is that you will kill the boss too soon. And that's it for the stance mastery. Just a heads up, I would not be going through all 64 spirits of the game. It's just too much. But what I will be going through is how you can utilize the spirits and integrate it within your fight. I'll start by telling you a fun fact. Did you know that when you use your spirits, it does not cancel or end your combo? In fact, it carries on until after you finish. Check this out. Yep, you saw that right. I did the resolute counter, went into my spirit, and followed up with the Skyfall strike. Bet you didn't know that. I guess I've earned my like and subscribe. Jokes aside, with this mechanic, the possibilities are endless. Especially if you've mastered all your stances, using this within your combo will make the enemy want to uninstall the game. So, what combinations are there? The first one is the simplest, the normal light attack combo. If you do the light attacks going into a spirit, and you do another light attack input during the transformation, it will continue the light attack combo. Here's the slow-mo with the inputs. I'd like to note that if you want your combos to be continuous, you must input your next action before the transformation ends. I'll show you why in the next combination. Light attack into heavy. Assuming that you don't need to do a counter, and you just want to go into a heavy attack, let's say for the pillar stance, you just have to do the same input as the last example. Instead of inputting a light attack towards the end, you do a heavy attack. But if you wait too long, and you do the input after the animation, you would just go into a charge heavy attack. But like shown before, this could be useful in some situations. The last one is by far the hardest. A spirit into a counter. Yeah, this is really hard to pull off. It's all about the timing. But if you can do it, oh boy, it feels better than... After consulting with my girlfriend, it is best advised I do not include the rest of the recording. The inputs are exactly the same as the light attack into a spirit, then into a heavy. except that you have to take into account that when you do the heavy attack input, the enemy will be hitting you. Regarding the spirits you can use in the combinations, I have not tested all of them out, but I'm pretty sure that it works for all of them. But yeah, give it a try. I know it's difficult, it took me quite a while to get it as well, but once you get it down, I'm pretty sure it will be rewarding. You ever played PvP in Elden Ring, and then you hit this sweet ravioli? I tried applying the same concept into this game, and the results are actually pretty mediocre. Honestly, after this point in the guide, it's just style points. It's only if you want to finesse on the enemy. I mean, I guess I could argue that it is useful in some situations, but I mean, come on, you guys have a life outside of this game. I don't. The underlying concept is that when you do a see-through, your character would usually step back, distancing you from the enemy by a short amount. And the idea is to take advantage of this. By taking off the lock-on, your character is not restricted to facing the enemy, allowing you to move around without having to face one direction all the time. Combining this directional input with your free camera, you are able to manipulate and choreograph your next attack. This could give you very good positional advantage and also closing the distance. And yes, you can still trigger the see-through if you are hit. Now, let me teach you how to do it. I'll be using the thrust stance as an example. First, determine which direction you want a tactical retreat into. For this example, I'll do forward. First, you do a light attack, and while during the short light attack animation, you hold out the opposite directional key, as well as chaining in your heavy attack to do the tactical retreat. I'll show that again in slow-mo with inputs. And these are the inputs if you want to do a follow-up. I know, it's hard. Just practice the first part and then try to do a follow-up after you're consistent with the first one. This works on the other directions too. You want to retreat left, you hold the right key. You want to retreat right, you hold the left key. And so on. I know, but if you want clips like this, you have to practice. Honestly, in your average gameplay, you'll never find any reason to do this.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
But it's still pretty cool if you can pull it off. For those who are still here, I just want to personally thank you. Your time is very valuable to me. I hope you have learned a thing or two. And if you're a returning viewer, I just want to say that I really appreciate your positive comments on my last video. Without that, I don't think this advanced guide would have been possible. If you have any ideas or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. And if this guide has helped you, please also let me know. I read every comment, so if there's anything you want me to elaborate on, I will do my best to help. Once again, thank you for your support and stay safe.